Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. So today I think it might be interesting to go over the differences between PUTW and QQQY. So this question was inspired by this kind viewer, one and only HD. Panda, do you believe there is a difference in strategy between QQQY and PUTW? If not, I'm guessing it means if not, why not? Can't we use put W decline during COVID and being able to recover as an example of what triple QY will do in a market crash? Okay, so I guess like technically, we should really be comparing JEPY and put W since those are using like SPX or like the SPY indices as like kind of as like a more direct comparison. But that's okay. I guess since the triple QY and JPY has such a high correlation, I think it might still be fair to be able to compare versus put W. So one interesting thing to note is that Defiance, the zero DTE option ETFs, they have a daily reset. They're cash settled, and they use treasuries as collateral. And then there's more chances to get to recover, but then there's also more chances to get beat up. So that's like the first difference I would say between like the Defiance product and Put W. It's just more of like a timing thing. So and then for Put W, it's if you go by the prospectus, is saying that well we plan to sell two put option cash secured puts every month. And put W, it could be a reasonable proxy for like, the future in case you're worried that, well, during like a steep decline, would the similar steep decline affect JEPY or triple QW or IWMY? And that's a very reasonable question. And then just to kind of like go over some other differences, like the expense ratio for put W is it's not too bad. It's at 44%. It's almost like half of like the Defiance products. So this is also very interesting in that they're like the difference between another difference between put W and the Defiance ETFs is that they for put W they're actually kind of doing things in almost like the reverse order, where they're actually using the proceeds from the cash secured puts on SPY and then putting that back into the treasuries. And they also pay monthly too, so that's also a plus for Put W. Now again, just to go back, so in terms of the marketing for Put W, if you go through any of the materials, they're saying, well, we sell two staggered at the money puts for 2.5% premium per month, and they put the premium back into 3 month T bills, which on the surface it seems pretty reasonable. So according to like the schedule, they're saying, oh, the first 50% will do it on like the first Friday of the month, and then the second batch will go on the third Friday of the month. And I thought, oh, okay, that seems pretty reasonable. And then they also do rolls, so they do it like 1 week prior to expiration. However, when you look closely at the current holdings, and this is why it's always important to, no matter if it's like a famous ETF company or if it's like a large ETF company, it doesn't matter if it's BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, Wisdom Tree, Van Eck, etc. It doesn't matter. You still always have to check on like the holdings just to make sure that they're sticking to like the original game plan. So when you look closely at at least like for the current holdings, this is right now they're using a synthetic cover call strategy, which in the grand scheme of things is not like the worst thing in the world. I mean, in theory, they should come pretty close. But then you also have to look closely at like the individual holding to see what's going on. Because right now, like if you notice, they have like the synthetic long. So they have like so basically that's for the call at 4.99 and then the selling a put at 4.99. So not a big deal, right? But notice how this is in the month of May. But then you notice like over here, like closer to the bottom, they're selling the call, but it's then actually in the back month. So they're selling it in June. Now, why this is potentially bad is that like let's say the market goes on a tear again, but the May options if they expire first, and if they don't do any rolls, you could potentially have like a time period where like you could actually be naked short calls, and if the market takes off again, that could be painful. So that's something you might want to be wary about, or like that's something you might want to keep an eye out for. So if they roll the May options to June, that's not a big deal, and hopefully nothing bad happens, and like where like they might have like a gap in like the time period, and like then you have like naked short calls, that could be a big ouchie. So to whoever holds the calls, or holds this ETF. So in terms of like the actual like ETF history, it's not too bad. It's been around for a while, and as you can see, back in 2020, you see like this huge drawdown. So if let's say like triple QY and JPY, they were, if they happened to be available way back when, in 2020, something similar could happen. It's definitely possible, and it actually could be more painful just because since it defines ETF, the option ETFs, like they sell it, daily. I mean, like the first few days could have been like really painful, but then eventually it could possibly recover. But obviously there's no guarantees here. You have to kind of see like the severity. And I made it like a video way back when, kind of like for like disaster planning too. So you can always review that at your own leisure as well. But just to kind of like wrap some numbers up about like the potential drawdowns, since this fund was available back at February 24th, 2016, it had some time to kind of like build up some equity. So let's say like you had like a $10,000 starting amount. The previous high at February 2020, you could have made like $3,209, which isn't too bad for 4 years, but it's not like the greatest. But that was like the previous high. But then you'll notice like back in back of March 2020, the low went to like 9,625. So you could potentially be looking at least like a 27% drawdown for this particular ETF, and probably for like the defined ETFs, you could probably see something worse, just because like even though there's more recovery time, we still don't know how like the managers would react back then. So that's always like an issue that you want to consider as well. But so far, like the life to date, like you could have made like your balance if you kept it since February 24th, 2016. Your balance would have been $17,000 and $511. So it's not too bad, but it's just something to consider. And then again, this is from like their website, so you can see like from inception, like the total. Like if you go by like the NAV, it's 78%. Which is pretty good, I would say. But again, it's you have to kind of consider that these are just like cash you could put returns. So if you held like the actual index itself, you probably would have done better. And then if you go like by like the average annual returns since inception, you see like the return is 7.43%. So you're underperforming like the long term average by 2.5%. Well, it depends on who you read. Most of the literature that I've read, like the average stock market return, depending on which index ETF that you buy, it's roughly like 10%. Some years will be better, and then some years will be worse. So it also depends on how far back that you've bought it. But let's just use 10% as a ballpark figure. So you're underperforming a little bit, but again, since this is an option ETF, it'll be similar to like a covered call ETF. So you have to expect like a little bit of underperformance here. And then just like again, just wrapping some basic stats around like the distributions. The maximum amount that you could have gotten per ETF share is $1.40. and then the minimum was actually 0. So there were some times where you didn't actually get anything, but on average you could kind of expect 33 cents per share. And then the total distribution since inception was $9.22. And then what's interesting here is that like they show like the premiums and discounts. So it's actually very interesting. So it's almost like a coin flip. You can actually, there's a good chance that if you're interested in this fund, there's a chance for you to get this particular ETF at a discount. And then I would just say for like again, just to reiterate, some possible lessons for the future is that even like name brand ETFs can lag, and of course like even if a high yield ETF survives, profits might be mediocre depending on how low that you keep your cost basis. And of course, in general, just please keep an eye on your portfolio. As you can see, sometimes like the managers like they shift the strategy just a little bit. So if you're not comfortable with that, then you have to take that into account as well. So hopefully I helped answer this viewer's question. If you like this type of content, please consider giving this a like. If you can subscribe as well. I'm trying to see what I can do to beat the YouTube algorithm. So any help that can be given would be greatly appreciated. Of course, like super thanks are always very nice, but not necessary. So thank you for watching. I hope people make some good money out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.